we're going to give you two examples of this whole kind of alignment. First will be middle school math, and second will be elementary school language arts. So I'll then turn it over to, oh wait, I forgot this one. Okay, why is all this better? Again, I mentioned this, the curriculum is aligned in all subjects. Proficiency expected of all students is carefully defined. I mentioned about the curriculum being chunked from those different levels, and that's the scales. The common assessments are reliable and valid. The only other thing I'll say about this is that we took a cross-section of our assessments and we sent them to an expert in assessment to review, and gave us some great tips in terms of test construction, question construction, consistency across grade levels, and all of that. So those are really qualitatively better assessments. And then finally, the report card includes all the outcomes that students are expected to learn, as I mentioned. And the one thing that is probably the best of all is that teachers are teaching the same content, assessing the same, and reporting the same, more so than ever before. Now I'll turn it over to middle school.
We're looking right here at an overview, and we'll see all 8th grades within math, and you can see like M5 at .1 is our first mastery outcome in the 5th grade. So there's 5 you can see, and then 6, 7, and 8. There's 7, and in H you can see we have 12 mastery outcomes. We're specifically going to look at MH2, which is our second outcome. Now, what you see is an abbreviated version of that. It will show up on the report card as a report card descriptor. And with math, you know, it's kind of the same, but it has very meaningful things there. Multi-step linear equations and inequality is a variable on one side. So as we go through the test, I'm going to point out where some of these questions are at. You can see a full assessment. Let's look at each mastery outcome is then broken up into the pieces we feel need to support that. You can see there are 5 initial pieces. These are our components. These components are now broken up into smaller pieces, chunked together. And this particular one, you can see, has 8.21, 8.22 on it. Now, within the sectionings, going from bottom to top, we talked about a 2 score, which is just about halfway down. Those would be basically the background that we need to come into this with, and it is tested that that background is there at a 2 level. The 3 level is our proficiency level, right above that, and the 4 level is our extend above level questions. Okay, there are 3 scales that go with this. There's another one. You can see it has 7 pieces. This one has 8.24. and 2.5 is on this one. When they're being written with respect to these components and these levels. And everything is matched that has to show up here and show up on the mastery assessment. Now we're looking at mastery assessment. And you can see right at the top there where it says simplify, those are L2s, meaning my background child who needs to go into this class and solve an equation. They need to know how to add and multiply integers. When you go down to a 3, this would be the pieces. And the 3s, you'll see more 3s on there. Those are the components that are truly learned this year. Those are all 3s in there. Now we're down to number 13. You see that that one's a 4. That's a stretch. We've got some fractional equations and there's some decimal equations. So those are the ones that they need to take and extend the knowledge. To the next slide. You see there's a little mix there of 3s and 4s. Difficulties. And finally, some word problems, which you all know and dearly love. Okay, but I need to put things together. The 3 is drawing the sketch of that word problem, 3A, and then you can see that there are parts that are 4s where they have to actually do the equation piece rather than kind of a guess check or revise and work on through it with the details. And once again, here it is also just as important in math what you did wrong as it is what you did correct. So this particular one is a 4 because they are looking at someone else's work and analyzing it and deciding what makes it incorrect and how to fix it. So that is our mastery assessment for 8.2. report card, as was already mentioned, you can see a listing there of the abbreviated outcomes. Time scales, still on the scales there. We will be able to use the SEL pieces to do something right.
What are the percentages?
Those were, for next year, we're going on whatever assessment it might be, the cumulative, the formative, the summatives. It would be like a final number for that particular master's stamp.
The final number that they got in that
Not
statement?
just that one test, no.
Like the average?
It's going to be the average.
Okay.
Is it on this?
Is it on this?
What was just discussed, yeah.
Budget.
Okay. I'm just kind of looking at this and I'm kind of trying to grasp it. This, and I know these are just samples, this would be like a sample test for assessing proficiency and...
That's the mastery assessment, that's the final test on that. No?
Okay. There are 21 questions.
Correct.
So if we just use some rounding here, we'll say that there's 5 off for each question.
But
For the sake...
It's not being graded in that particular...
That's what I want to drive to. That's what I want to try to figure out, because 7 of the 21 questions are level 4 questions. If a child did not get any of them correct, they would get a 65% on this assessment, which would be a D.
Right, but it isn't a straightforward take 20 and 5 points.
Understood, and I'm hoping that
there is a thing
perhaps
called,
as
it's
we...
not displayed here at this point, but there are scoring rubrics for this. We have a thing called the Mangoff scale, where there are different point values for different questions, and then there are ranges of points to
It would be ideal to kind of get that, in my opinion, so that I could understand that better to truly approve, because...
Would you want to see it connected to this? Because it has
Certainly.
been presented to us before.
Right, but this is
Before,
all been piecemeal as we've gone
So
for the
to make
last
the
year.
connection
So to
to
make the
assessment.
connection, it would be ideal, because my fear would be, and that's what I kind of heard in all the parent meetings is, you know, geez, I get up to a level 3, which is what's taught in class. I now take a level 4 and I'm expected to know it, and it wasn't taught. And if it's a 1-for-1 measurement, which you're saying it's not, I get a 35 if I don't get any of the level 4 questions answered. So I would definitely love to see it tied. You know, as an example on this.
What are you looking at? I'm just curious.
If you, okay,
It's in our board packet.
It's on the board
actual
packet.
assessment is.
it's on the board packet. So we just had the example.
Okay. Oh,
Okay, and there's 21 questions. 7 of them are marked as level 4.
okay. It's in here.
Yeah, and in terms of the scoring,
Okay.
you know,
Thank you.
in the past, this similar type of math test would have different points for different questions. So
Yeah.
really, yeah,
of
there's
course.
nothing really changed in terms of, the only thing that's changed is
Thank
that
you.
this is better articulated in terms of, you know, level of difficulty.
I know, but when we go back and, you know, we did the pilot last year, or not last year, but we just recently completed the pilot, and we had a number of parent meetings, 2 at the middle school, 1 at the elementary, and then a 4th meeting where it was, you know, the Marzano presentation. And throughout all that, what I heard, because I went to 3 of the 4 of them, throughout all that, what I heard was, you know, what was your typical A student was now getting something less than, because they were missing these advanced questions, and they were counted at the time equally, or appeared to be equally, because people were shocked when report cards came and they weren't getting the grades. And you know, I look at this, and I agree we've gotten things all along, but it's come out piecemeal. And I look at this as saying, okay, it's a whole presentation. I'd love to see how it's measured truly, to get a gauge of, okay, if I took this test, and you know, perhaps you have that memorized and you can tell me, if I took this test and got these 7 wrong, so I only got 14 right, but all 14 were what was taught to me, what would I get?
Well, it comes in bands, first of all. It comes in, well, we have set it up in the bands with the proficiency piece.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a range on the scales, so you didn't have to pick up all of your points in the part 4s.
Well, let's say I got none of them. I'm literally saying